On the season, Sacramento trying to improve its record of 4-3. Mike Tirico, Tom Tolbert, Sal Masakela. We're here to see Chris Webber and company try to get back home and get comfortable, Tom, because they had a tough road trip.
And it was the injuries. I mean, you look at the injuries and you're 3-3 and you're wondering what's wrong with the Kings. Well, Mike Bibby's not there. Weber misses some games. Turkoglu misses games. Pollard's out. Clark misses some games. It's all about the injuries. This team's just fine.
Memphis looking for win one. They played well. Strohmeyer Swift had it knocked away. And here comes Sacramento with Christie all the way down the lane. Misfired. Vlade Divac the putback. Gasol was there. And here is Weber. Taken away by Battier, so Memphis doing what they haven't done enough of, competing on that defensive end. Weber's up front with Stojaković and Vlade Divac for the Sacramento Kings. Bobby Jackson, of course, continues for Mike Bibby, out because of the right foot surgery into December, but Mike is getting closer to feeling better. Weber, the air ball, Vlade, the rebound.
Well, that's one of the things they haven't been doing well, shooting the ball well, but if you're the Kings, you know eventually you're going to score. What they've been doing well is holding opponents to 42% shooting.
Gasol on the putback. Of course, the other storyline here tonight is the return of Jason Williams. He was back last year, the former Sacramento King, and received a warm reception from the ARCO crowd when the starting lineups were introduced. Christie finds Vlade, and Divac scores the first two for the home team.
Well, that's the one thing with the Grizzlies they're going to have to continue to get better at is defense, recognition, always knowing where the ball is. They're giving up 29 assists a game their opponents are getting. That's just too many, and you know they're getting easy shots.
Here is the reigning Rookie of the Year in the NBA, Paul Gasol, off to an outstanding start this season, averaging 22 per ball game. Christie missed the triple, and Strohmeyer Swift comes away with the board. This Sacramento team is going up against a very young Memphis team. Battier, the second-year player, off the pass from Gasol.
He can do it all. I mean, not only can he score, he rebounds. A 7-1 guy with a bounce pass like that to a cutter, that is not an easy pass to make.
Jackson works on Williams. Here is Vlade setting up on Strohmeyer Swift. Stojaković.
You know, it's kind of funny to think about it. You watch Jason Williams out there. He's kind of the one that got this whole thing started with the passing and get out in the open court. And now he's not here to really enjoy the fruits of the labor. But when you think of the Kings, at least I do, I think great passing team more than anything.
Well, that's when they came on the national NBA map, no doubt about it. And the sharing the ball is infectious and really got going with Stojaković, Weber, Vlade, and Jason Williams. That's a foul on Chris. Let's check the lineups. It's Weber, Stojaković, Divac for the third time this year. They're together with Christie and Jackson in the backcourt. For the Grizzlies, Gooden, Gasol, and Battier. Shane is kind of playing the two again. Strohmeyer Swift has played so well, you have to put him in the lineup. And Jason Williams runs the point for Memphis and knocks down the two.
Well, there's never been any question about Jason Williams' talent. He can flat out play. He can shoot it. He just has to know when to play situational basketball. You can't do the same things in the fourth quarter at the end of the game that you can do.
Weber tried the thunder dunk, didn't go. Jackson got the kickback and knocks down three.
Bobby Jackson played extremely well in the first 6 games of the season, and I never doubted that he would. He plays meaningful minutes. He plays with these guys on a regular basis. He's not really a second-team guy, but what they do miss is his spark coming off the bench.
Averaging 17 a game, starting. Weber took that away from Gasol. Hal stuck with it. Sacramento on the push. Jackson looking for lanes to be filled. Drew Gooden took him away from the ball. Weber on Battier. They went to the same high school, not at the same time. Country Day in suburban Detroit. That would be north of 8 Mile for you M&M fans. Swift, 4-on-4. Strohmeyer moved on Weber. Chris, a couple of blocks here early. And this one's the easiest deuce of the night for Jackson.
Broke out M&M early. That's amazing.
Well, they had some bad M&M knockoff who was DJing pregame at midcourt.
Oh, well, you don't see those around very often, do you?
Not in Sacramento, no. Kings on top by 3 here in ARCO. Sold out again. Gooden tried to find Battier in Vlade's hands so quick. Beautiful bounce. Christina Jackson.
That is incredible. That is, talking about a guy moving, you're moving, off the bounce, pinpoint pass, and he didn't even break stride. Catch it, boom, 2 points.
And Memphis coach Sidney Lowe wants to have a conversation right away. This is a team that's allowing the opponents to shoot 49% from the field. A 7-0 run with easy hoops the last two, especially the last one for Bobby Jackson.
And that is through 3 guys. Amazing pass, Kings up 5.
Sweet bounce by Christie. Kings the early lead on NBA.
That is bad. Hey, how do you possibly score 58 points after 3 quarters?
Kevin Frazier, Tim Hardaway in the studio. Sal Mesicala with us on the sideline. Big Sal.
Well, boys, I spoke to Chris Webber at the shoot-around before the game, and he said that while the Kings are not worried about these 3 losses, they're not trying to make it 4. He said, we are a team that has a target on its back, and therefore we cannot take any team lightly, especially an 0-5 team like Memphis with nothing to lose.
Well, Sal, when you consider they have played winless teams a couple of times here already this season, Memphis, as they hooked up last Saturday, and then the last couple of games they've played against winless teams, they've allowed Miami and the New York Knicks to get first wins on the season.
Yeah, they have, but I'm not going to read much into it. You look at some of the stats and you say, you can't get on them for doing this or doing that when they're missing all their players. It's like saying, oh boy, the Packers passing game's gone downhill and Brett Favre's been out of the game. And you take these and you throw them away and you realize when they're healthy, they're an elite team.
Peja Stojaković a 3, and all of a sudden the extra bounce in the Sacramento step has returned compared to what we saw last week. And on Wednesday night, the loss in New York, and a lot of it has to do with being here in ARCO. They scored the last 10 to lead by 8.
Well, this may be the best crowd in the league right here. And you give it up to these guys, because even when they weren't winning in the 80s and early 90s, they always came and supported the team.
Pau Gasol traveled. Rick Adelman, who coached Portland to the NBA Finals in 90 and 92, and coached Sacramento to the best record in the league last year. Season 5 here. Kind of a different set of circumstances for Sidney Lowe. He's trying to get his footing, get a very young team, the youngest starting 5 in the league, certainly in terms of NBA experience, trying to get them comfortable. The problem is people are expecting results because of the talent, and there's already been a little heat on Sidney Lowe, but Jerry West has deflected that attention a little bit so far. Webber the rebound inside, and it's 12-0 the run for the Kings.
Well, it's tough enough when you have one rookie out there, but not only do you have a rookie, you have a third-year guy, you have a second-year guy on your front line, and they're going to make mistakes, especially defensively. You just have to try and live with it. You don't give up on it. You don't let them get away with it, but you're saying, okay, this is something we can correct, and hopefully it'll get better, because they are athletic across the front line, and eventually I think they'll be very good.
Nice feed by Gasol. Swift had it knocked away. Gordon Girasek in the game now for Memphis. He lit it up for 29 on opening night. And he'll work with Gasol, Williams, Swift, and Battier. 3 to shoot for Memphis. And here is Gordon. That's a shot clock violation. Never hit the rim. Should have been at least. Stojaković. Sacramento putting it on Memphis, a 14-0 run to take a 12-point lead.
How do you not love the way they play basketball? I mean, that's the way you play growing up. Nobody went to the park growing up and dumped it into the big guy and stood around the three-point line. They ran. If you're open, you shoot.
Foul on Chris Webber. Picks up his second foul. The Sacramento team leading by 12. It's such an exciting brand of basketball, and it hasn't been in part because they've been so injured. They haven't had their core group together at all this year.
No, they haven't. And now, I said this earlier, not only does it manifest itself on the court, you don't have enough guys to practice. You don't have 10 healthy bodies to practice with in practice. And early in the season, that's when you work the rust off a little bit and you get back to being a cohesive unit. They haven't not only had a chance to do it during the game, they haven't had a chance to practice.
Christie and Sacramento cannot miss thus far. They are 9 of 16 shooting here in this first 7 minutes, and Sidney Lowe has to stop it again as the Kings have scored 6 with .1.
Mike and I, we've never seen that before. A dunk, a buzzer beater dunk. You just don't see that, nor should you.
Amazing finish in that one. Gasol had his shot blocked, wanted the goaltend, but the putback by Stromile Swift breaks the run for Sacramento.
Well, he's a guy who's Stromile Swift, extremely athletic. Doesn't have a lot of moves down there. He just uses athleticism to get to the glass and jump over people and try to score buckets down low.
Webber has Gasol out on him. Took him into the paint. Chris a little more aggressive on both ends here in the first 8 minutes. Got Gasol in the air. Vlade comes down the lane.
1 through 5. I mean, that's a tremendous pass, and that's your power forward making that pass. He's a big guy. One dribble to the hoop, draw the defense, Vlade cuts, pass it off, easy deuce again.
You're a sec, that's what he loves to do. Swift, the weak side, put back, and he'll shoot some free throws. Boy, if you watch the Wednesday game at the Garden on ESPN that Brad Nessler and Bill Walton did, and you see Weber and Vlade moving here tonight, complete different body language from these guys.
Yeah, I think the crowd has a lot to do with that. I think being at home has a lot to do with that. I think even though they've been injured, 3-3 has a lot to do with that. They don't want to lose to Memphis to give them their first win. But I'm always impressed each and every time I watch this team because 1 through 5, we're talking about centers, power forward, everybody that comes in the game has the ability to pass, and it seems like this team, more than any team in the NBA, thinks pass first, shot second. Very unselfish.
Revin Knight, Wesley Person come in for Memphis. Stromiles Swift has another free throw coming. Missed them both. He's 9 of 10 shooting free throws thus far this season. Swift has been one of the hotter players for Memphis. And what I said at the top, they're 0-5, but they've been playing decent basketball. They lost in overtime to San Antonio, a game they should have won. They were up 7 in OT, and then played Portland pretty well and lost to the Blazers at the start of this road trip by 6 up at the Rose Garden earlier this week.
Well, you hear the term a lot, you have to learn to win. Young team, you have to learn to win, and the only way to get that confidence is to win a couple games like that.
Christie. And there's part of the problem. Nobody stopped the ball from free throw line to the other hoop.
You know, I didn't know Doug Christie was a big University of Texas fan. Looked like he was doing the hook 'em horn sign after he made that bucket. No, maybe not.
You know what that is. Signed to his wife after made baskets. Swift comes across the lane, and that's a little bit of what the 23-year-old out of LSU can give this Memphis team.
Like the old Patrick Ewing runner. One dribble, cross the lane.
Peja! Did he even catch before he shot? The Kings have opened up over 50% here in this first half. Vlade takes it away from Gasol. Nope. Yes, Bobby Jackson, Stojaković. Bobby will pull it back out and restart it.
How'd that thing get through? I was hanging up there forever. It dropped in nicely.
Weber faces up on Stromiles Swift. Waits for the cutting Christie. The quick hands of Revin Knight knocked it away, but Vlade got it back and gave it to Christie, who lost it because of the good defensive help by Revin Knight, who's begging a Leon Wood. Did you see that? That wasn't off me. Strip. Have a timeout. Sacramento's hit 3 threes, 12 of 21 for the field in the first half. Stojaković with a 3. He already has nothing to wonder about here. Christie has 5 of Sacramento's 9 assists. Meantime, Memphis has turned it over 7 in the early going. It's contributed to some easy hoops. Keon Clark, who set out the last game with a groin injury, is back for Sacramento. First time in the lineup.
Great.
Vlade and Peja.
I know I'm going to be a broken record, not going to keep saying great pass, but my goodness. I mean, what a nice cut. Head up, nice pass. Well, you know you're in trouble. Well, you know you're in trouble when you look at scoreboard, you're down 19.
Yeah,
but when you have, usually it's an assist to turnover ratio. As the Grizzlies have a turnover to assist ratio right now, you know you're in trouble.
Stojaković, 5 of 6 from the field in this first quarter.
And just an unbelievable, pass right there, cut, pass, your check just, whoop, what happened? Somebody took off. And that's where if you get beat, your interior defense you got to help you out right there and at least contest the shot and not let him get an open layup. Way too many layups right now for the Sacramento Kings from the Grizzlies standpoint.
Damon Jones in now, giving Bobby Jackson a break. Vlade hits from the outside. Sacramento has opened 14 of 23 here tonight.
Oh, he's crafty. Vlade can pass, shoot from the outside. The best actor in the NBA by far.
3 from Girasek off the mark. Christie comes away with the rebound. In addition to all the good stuff from Sacramento, Memphis has opened 5 of 18. Here is Damon Jones with the Pistons last year. Lost it. Girasek the bounce for Knight.
Well, that's the first easy look they've had in about the last 3 or 4 minutes. You look at the Kings, they're the ones that are passing, getting it inside like that. I mean, everything's going to the bucket for the Kings. And even on the Vlade jump shot, it was dribble penetration, then kick out and shoot the jump shot, not pass it around the perimeter and shoot the jump shot. The Grizzlies got to try to be a little more aggressive, either establish someone in the low box or penetrate, find a crease, and then kick out. That's what the Kings have been doing.
A couple of free throws for Doug Christie. When last we saw Doug, he and Rick Fox never saw the rest of the first quarter after their altercation, the final preseason game of the NBA season. 2-game suspension for Christie. Fox came off of his in the first game of our NBA Friday doubleheader. If you're just joining us, what a finish. Washington on a Stackhouse dunk at the buzzer, beating the Lakers as LA continues its struggle on the eastern swing. Drew Gooden comes across the lane, and the kid from Kansas, many people think, is a good Rookie of the Year candidate for 2002-2003.
Absolutely. And the reason he was inserted into the starting lineup is his emotion. That's just ridiculous. I mean, it's so quick. You better realize, you need to be up on him before he catches the ball. Because if you're not there, I remember Del Curry. That was the quickest release I'd ever seen. Stojaković is right there, catch gone.
Gooden loves to come across that lane, twist back Keon Clark right in his way.
But it's talking about the emotion that Drew Gooden brings. Coach Sidney Lowe feels like he brings a lot of emotion to the ball club. Certainly does. Young guy still learning, but playing well early on.
Keon Clark off the mark. Shot clock off. Memphis can hold for one. Reverend Knight sees the opportunity, though. Could not convert.
Now, what are you doing? Why in the world would you shoot at the end and let them have the last shot? It's not like the first quarter is going well for you. At least don't let them get a shot off at the end.
And Vlade tried to put an exclamation point on it with a three. And he misfires on those 15 field goals. And, Tom, that's what they do as well as anybody in the league.
That's what they do, and that's what's, bitten the Memphis Grizzlies, giving up easy shots. And you look back on the first quarter, you don't remember the Kings taking a forced shot. It's a layup, it's a pass, it's a layup, it's a pass, it's an open jump shot. You have to get to the point where you're making them take contested shots. They're not doing it, man. 11 assists in the first quarter. Yeah, that's absurd.
Sahito Turkoglu has come in, had some bad sushi on the end of the road trip and had to sit out with food poisoning.
It was a California roll?
I don't know.
I had some bad pastrami in Vegas one time, undercooked. That food poisoning is nasty stuff.
Not at the Maloof's place, right?
No, absolutely not.
The Maloof brothers, of course, the owners, who are also in the entertainment business in Vegas as well. Earl Watson's in the game for Memphis, 25, the second-year man out of UCLA. Joins Person and Knight, small unit out here for Memphis, with Drew Gooden and Lorenzen Wright, former Memphis Tiger. Gooden likes to get it and shoot. Doesn't look to pass very often. Hits the goal there and is called for a technical foul by Leon Wood. There's some of that emotion that Sidney Lowe was talking about from Gooden, but not channeled in the right place there.
No, that was not constructive. But right here, see, good move, good pump fake. Gets Keon Clark flat-footed, couldn't jump. And he screamed something that Leon Wood didn't appreciate.
He asked Leon for the foul immediately. You're a rookie. You can't be asking for fouls.
Now, as a rookie, just thank you very much. Appreciate that. If you want to, and the quickest way to ingratiate yourself to an official is during a timeout or during a dead ball, just go ask him, I thought that was a foul. What did you think? You just ask him questions and try to initiate a conversation with him. But when you bark at him, forget about it.
You suck up to him pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. No question about it.
Damon
do what
Jones
you gotta do.
off the Keon Clark screen. I'll tell you what, we talk about the players and giving energy because Bobby Jackson's not in that role coming off the bench. Damon Jones has done a nice job. And Sacramento signed him late in the preseason, knowing that Bibby would be out until December 1st or thereabouts. Reverend Knight goes to a jump stop and put up a soft two. Revan back in the Northern California area, spent his college days at Stanford. We're talking about Drew Gooden on the floor. He's from Oakland, so he's got 20 people who we had to get tickets for here tonight. All the time in the world for Jones to knock down three.
You have 5 feet between you and the nearest defender. You just go ahead and tee it up and make it. Maybe somebody might want to measure that rim. Maybe that one's a little wider. The circumference a little different than one down here.
Earl Watson got in there and didn't like the shot options, so kicked it back out. Lorenzen Wright, who was starting at center until Stromile Swift came on. Misfires, and Turkoglu moves it 3-on-3. Stojaković has Wesley Person. There's the help from Lorenzen Wright. Running back on the defensive end. And joins it on the offensive side. And Gooden, right away the quick shot.
You definitely see the pieces, especially the front line. You can bring a guy like Lorenzen Wright in off the bench on your front line. He's a guy who's athletic. He can give you a few points. He can rebound very well, and he can defend. And he's a guy, hopefully, who can try to bring some of these younger guys.
Keon, get off. Beautiful feed from Peja. Add an assist to Stojakovic's 14 points.
Well, at some point, you got to knock someone on their can. At some point, you have to get sick of looking at people cut into the bucket and dunking on your face, spiking one on your crown, laying one up. I would. I'd say, you know what? Come in here. You're going to have to pay a price sooner or later.
Lorenzen Wright hits the hoop, making it a 20-point game. One of the things with this Memphis team, in addition to being talented and young, we're also nice. Had a bunch of nice guys on this team, Tom.
I better stop being nice.
Oh, Vlade and Turkoglu almost had a pretty deuce, but could not convert. Drew Gooden showing some of his open floor ability. Watson doesn't belong down there. Get on out.
And he knew it.
Toughness, that's what Sidney Lowe likes from 25 in the black jersey. 6'1", 190, 23 years old. Out of UCLA.
With all the talent they always had down there at UCLA, he was always the glue guy. You always looked at Earl Watson and said, you know what? He was a stabilizer. He's going to get him under control. Not a lot of credit, but a solid player.
All right, good job by Memphis, climbing back in a little bit. We'll visit with Mike Bibby when we come back, chatting with Sal Masakela. Sacramento by 17.
You walked out there looking like, you know, like He-Man. Are you hitting the plates hard?
Yeah, I mean, I told Darren that too. But you know, I mean, that's all I can really do now is lift. So you know, lift and ride the bike. That's all I do.
All right, man. Well, it looks like when you come back, you're gonna hurt him. You're gonna give us a date? What are you thinking?
Hopefully, the first week of December. Hopefully
back for that Christmas game.
I'll be back definitely for that.
All right, man. Thanks for the time. All right.
Thank you, Sal. Mike Bibby, who signed the big contract in the offseason, the 7-year, $80 million deal. A couple of games into the preseason, stress fracture in that right foot, and it's really thrown things off for Sacramento. And you talk to the folks around here. Turkoglu had the last hoop, tried to get another one. Gets it out to Damon Jones, who had plenty of time, but knocks down 3 from deep anyway.
I want to say they're feeling it as a team. You know, the funny thing about it, too, talking to Joe Maloof last year during the playoffs on the radio show, he said that he was not in favor of the trade, Jason Williams for Mike Bibby. He didn't want that trade because he loved what Jason Williams brought to the organization. That was excitement. That was interest. And you get Mike Bibby. I told Joe, I said, well, that's why Jeff Peachy runs the basketball operation. Because that was an incredible trade. I mean, Mike Bibby. These guys are all over the place, aren't they?
Turkoglu, a 3. And Gooden the rebound. There was Gerald Wallace, who almost had the spectacular flush on the putback. Sacramento, plenty of energy here tonight. Looking far different from the team that played 4 games in 5 nights on the road. Revan Knight lost it, but took it right away from Weber. As Earl Watson joining the play, reset it.
These little guys, boy, they sneak up on you. You can't even hear them coming, let alone see them coming.
Gooden working on Weber. Never looks to pass out of there, I'm telling you. We'll stay with Sacramento. College football Saturday, plenty of action on ESPN during the day. Here are the primetime games on ESPN2. You'll see Eli Manning and Ole Miss visit Georgia, reeling after their loss to Florida. And number 11 Michigan will play Minnesota for the Little Brown Jug on ESPN at 7:45 Eastern. It all starts with College Game Day live from Knoxville, Tennessee at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Here, Sacramento leads by 20. They had a 16-0 first quarter run that has really put the spacing in this game. Knight tries to go all the way, and he is fouled by Damon Jones.
Well, not only their offense, it's their defense that's leading to easy points. Their defense getting the ball off the backboard, creating turnovers, and in turn, not just creating the turnovers and then going up and setting up their offense, they're turning those turnovers over into points.
Knight shakes Jones, boom, down the lane.
That's one of those ones, if you're not already there, I used to just move. I didn't want to end up on somebody's bedroom in a poster somewhere, like some little kid. Where you don't see the guy's face, you just see Tolbert on the back. It's like, no thank you.
Oh, look at Keon Clark. Spin in there off the window with the left hand.
Now, he's got some wicked stuff down there. I mean, he's just really long and finger rolls left hand, right hand. He can really get the job done. I still don't think he feels completely comfortable here, but when he does, I think he's going to make a nice impact for the Kings.
Watson fakes 3, takes 2 off the bank.
Well, you know he went to UCLA. The bank. You got to be able to bank the ball. You go to UCLA. John Wooden. Use the backboard.
You know, I was not sure if Coach Wooden's name would come up in a non-Walton telecast here on ESPN, but it did.
He's smiling somewhere, isn't he?
Weber extends it back out to 20. Sacramento, in 17 minutes, has put up 51 points here tonight. Weber Knight and Earl Watson, this small lineup. 5'10" and 6'1". Gooden shoots over Weber, misfires. Gooden 5 of 9 shooting here in the first half.
This is like on the Yinka Dare program, huh? Yinka go about like 180 games before his first assist occurred.
Well, he did pass out of the double team down here just a moment ago.
Or it may have slipped.
Full disclosure, he is averaging an assist a game. That's encouraging. That's what he's paid to do, though. Drew Gooden. He has 10, but Keon Clark, the pretty move inside, continuing the Sacramento dominance. It is the Kings by 20 on NBA Friday.
Robinson, Tom Tolbert, you talked about him during shoot-around. Yeah.
Well, it's not only the shooting with him. I mean, you're going to have Bob shooting nights. It's when he's having one of those nights, can he help the team in other ways? Will he get in there and rebound? Will he play defense? Will he, he can't just score. He's going to get his points throughout the course of the season. And just quickly on Stockton and Malone, I mean, has there ever been a twosome in the history of the league that has done what they have done as far as execution? I mean, the execution they do is just amazing.
That Atlanta team comes here to Sacramento on Sunday as they continue their swing out west. Drew Gooden with 10, Peja Stojaković 14. As the Kings maintain control of this one, leading by 20. Pau Gasol, the reigning Rookie of the Year, has been quiet for Memphis and continues to struggle. He's hit just 1 field goal in 7 attempts thus far tonight.
Well, that's a tough matchup for him, Keon Clark, because Keon Clark is as tall as Paul Gasol, is as long as Pau Gasol, and he's quicker than Gasol. Usually he can either out-quick somebody or just shoot over him, not with Keon Clark.
Weber couldn't take Stromiles Swift down the lane. Jason Williams back in. Very quiet early start on Williams' 2002-2003 return to Sacramento. Played a couple of games here last year as a Memphis Grizzly. Gasol struggling right now. 1 of 8 for Gasol, who has been shooting 63% from the field, among the league leaders in the first 2 weeks of the season.
I always envied those guys. They could go 1 for 8 and then go 1 for 9 and 1 for 10 and stay in the game. Because I'd never get to 1 for 8. I wouldn't even come close to 1 for 8. Yeah, 1 for 4. I'm like, what are we playing Family Feud around here? Nope, you're coming out, Tom.
Well, I'm sure that when you knew somebody was at the table to come get you, that you were not more likely to make the shot that last trip down.
No, but I would get one off.
That's
the old. I learned that from the vets when I played for Golden State. If you look over at the scoring bench and you see somebody about to check in for you, you heave one last shot up. It doesn't matter if you make it or not. You're gonna get one last bullet out of the gun before you go ahead and sit out on the bench.
One more free throw coming for Keon Clark. We mentioned the groin injury. Keon, as you alluded to, Tom, when I spoke with him in the locker room before the game, adjusting to Sacramento. Remember, Keon went to school at UNLV, drafted by Orlando, although moved on very quickly to Denver, then was in Toronto. And certainly, just from a lifestyle standpoint, living in Toronto, living in Sacramento is an adjustment. And Keon said it is easier to focus on basketball being here. And he's embracing that. I'm looking forward to that as he tries to fit in with this powerhouse team that won 36 at home last year. 36-5 on this floor.
Well, maybe we shouldn't tell him Tahoe's an hour and a half away.
So, you know, you would be a bad influence no matter where you are. We could bring you to Manitoba, and you would find the hot spots.
You are correct, sir.
Here in ARCO, we approach The halftime, Gordon Garasek finally gets on the board. His first hoop, the rookie from Croatia, who was a Dallas Maverick draft pick, a second-round selection of the Mavs in '99, and has found a place to play in Memphis.
Well, that's what they need more of. They need more cutting off the ball.
Weber continues to struggle. Clark kept it alive. The rookie Garasek comes away with it. Weber just 2 of 8 shooting. Has 7 boards and 4 assists, but only 4 points. Mason Williams hoisting. That's the second time a Williams shot has hit the rim and then the shot clock. Jason Williams just 1 assist and 2 points. He can't get it going, but maybe Pau Gasol is kicking it in after going 1 of 8. That's flush on Keon Clark. And then the first hoop for Gordon Garasek. Some of the international flavor and the youth of the Memphis Grizzlies. A long hole to climb out of in Northern California.
First round matchup, maybe second round, but you got to be able to play defense to get stops.
Of course, Dallas has the international influence. Their star, Dirk Nowitzki. We have 7 players who are on these rosters who are international, foreign-born players. Strabansky from Poland is still on the injured list for Memphis. Robert Archibald is off the injured list, by the way, and he is on the lineup. And speaking of international stars and passing flair in Sacramento, from Portugal, Tisha Penicheiro, WNBA star with the Sacramento Monarchs. She played at Old Dominion. Very good college player. Weber connects.
That's his shot. You get him on the elbows right there, and he is pretty much money. You can't leave him open. You got to get up. And early in his career, that's a shot that you would like to see him take, but no longer. From those elbows, he is deadly. Good deep.
Yes. Weber got a piece of the Strohmeyer slip shot. Christie back in the lineup. Finds Stojaković, who was terrific in the early going. Battier cannot draw the charge, as he did so often at Duke. And Jackson hits a 3. Shane made a living of that at Duke, drawing charges at will, but not that time on Peja. The Kings are 6 for 9 from 3-point land. Swift, the bang in the bucket, and Strohmeyer will shoot a free throw.
That was a decisive move. That's just quick. I'm going to catch, I'm going to spin face, and I'm gone. And that's what he has to do. He's not a guy that can just back it. You see right there, little jab step, whoop, to the middle, up, get the foul, and score. When he tries to back you down and take his time, that's when he gets into a little bit of trouble. When he makes a quick, decisive move early, he can get to the bucket, and he's just such a great athlete. Get up over you and score from inside 5 feet.
Lead has been in the 20-point neighborhood. Right from that 16-0 middle of the first quarter run for the Kings. As we approach the final minute, you see that Memphis has improved its shooting just a little bit. Battier there to block it as Jackson got close. And here's Williams on the run. Finds Gasol. And Pau has back-to-back buckets.
How many times you see a 7-footer out there, not leading the break, but finishing off the break, man? That's pretty impressive stuff.
Williams, Gasol, Swift, and a foul. This is the spot in the game against Orlando comes to mind, and certainly against the Knicks, where Sacramento was sloppy and allowed especially the Knicks to have a halftime advantage, and it was a bigger lack of a deficit for the Knicks to work out of, and Rick Adelman was concerned about that. And here, similar thing happening, as this was a 21, 22-point game, but now Memphis can get within 15.
We always want to close out the halves strong. I mean, you want that momentum going in. I've never really been able to figure out how much momentum carries over into half. You sit down, you have your water, you listen to your coach a little bit, and you get back out here. But you don't want to give a team life. When you have them down, you like to just have them forget about it and go on about their business.
So it's like anything. If you do it poorly, you don't feel good about yourself when you come back out. Christie, Swift sends it away. Can Williams save it? No. Out of bounds as Jason went to visit some of his old friends here in Sacramento.
Wow, that was like super exciting. Inspector Gadget up there, just boom. That's top of the block stuff. A lot of guys get blocked, but not a lot of guys get top of the block blocks.
I understand what you said.
All right, go ahead.
Most people don't, but here's Weber on Gasol. Vlade, the putback. Divac has 8. Stojaković and Jackson in double figures. And Weber, Divac, and Christie in the 6-8-point neighborhood. Gasol threatened to put it on the floor. Garasek lost Christie. Sacramento will run out for Christie from Weber. Assist number 5 for Chris. It is a 18-assist first half for the Kings.
I don't know. You may want to have a guard back. I mean, someone's got to be back on defense. Not everybody can just stand around and watch what's going on. You got to have your head in the game and get back on defense.
Williams was trying to toss it for the alley-oop. It did not come. 2.6 left. Vlade asking for the ball. He's ready to go. Battier knocked it away. Benefit goes. And we go to halftime. 26 field goals for Sacramento, 18 of them with assists as the Kings shot 52% from the field. Spot for Memphis. Each only had a field goal for 2 in the first half. Starting 5 returns for both teams. Nobody in foul trouble. Memphis had 2 fouls the entire first half. That tells you the lack of intensity. Well,
and one thing, too, that I noticed with the first half, and we mentioned Glenn Robinson a little earlier on in the show, and everybody wants to mention scoring. There are other things you can do to help your team. You look at Chris Webber, 3 for 11 shooting, but 8 rebounds, 5 assists. He is doing other things right now to help this team. The shot's not there, but it's not like he's not getting after the glass. He's not finding open cutters of the bucket. He's not letting the 3 for 11 affect the rest of the game.
7 to shoot for Webber off the inbounds. I'll make a change to what I said earlier. Gordon Garasek does start this second half for Memphis. Drew Gooden, who started the game, will start on the bench. Gooden scored 10 points in 14 minutes in the first half. Sturmile Swift looking for a call back on the other end. Meantime, he's bailed out as Vlade was walking up the floor. Christie goes right on Battier, again trying to draw the defensive call and does not.
Battier is going to get sick of going to the ground. And I'll be honest, too, the one in the first half, I thought maybe he drew that one, but they're less likely to give you that in the NBA as opposed to college.
Shane saw that and learned it last year, his rookie season.
Holy mackerel.
Vlade, I think that was just knowing Webber was there. A little smile, and Vlade's just letting Chris know, I really intended that.
That was junk is what that was.
Did they give Vlade an assist on that, by the way?
I hope not.
Marty Aronoff, please. No.
I told you he was crafty. He's crafty.
Sacramento up by 22, and they're looking much more like the team we thought we'd see on that road trip. Gasol, who struggled early in the first half, has now hit his last 3 field goals.
That's what I like about this guy. 7 foot, puts the ball on the ground. He's athletic. He can get to the rim. He can shoot from outside, but he's aggressive as well. He doesn't just rely on the outside jump shot.
Bobby Jackson knocks down 2. Hey, on NBA shoot-around, I'm in the hotel getting ready to come over. I hear you guys talking about Bobby Jackson. I think Bobby Jackson's been fine this year. He's the last thing that's been a problem with the Sacramento team. On cue, he makes the steal and the pass to Stojaković.
That's why you're a true professional. You knew that was coming. You knew it was the right time to talk about. It's not, I'm telling you, he's fine starting. He's averaging with 17 points a game coming in. He is no problem with his productivity. The only problem is you don't have him coming off the bench. That creates a little bit of a problem. That and the fact that they've had a number of injuries on this team. But as far as what he's been able to do, you have no problem with what he's been able to do, and neither should you be surprised.
Peja knocks down 3. So Stojaković continues his outstanding shooting here tonight.
Well, you can't go into the screen. You can't get caught on the screen with Peja Stojaković, and maybe someone should let them know in case they didn't already. And obviously, by the way they're playing him, they haven't. The guy can shoot a basketball.
8 of 11 from the field. Nice pass by Williams to Gasol. Webber out defensively. Sturmile Swift stayed with it. Had nowhere to go and put up a wild shot.
That was one of those ones you have no teammates down there, so you just figure, I'm going to go ahead and throw it up.
Webber charged his 3rd.
Yeah, he's just not in sync right now offensively, and you can see that. When he has his game going, he's getting the ball, he's facing guys, he's shooting one dribble to the bucket, he's getting the balls around the elbows where he can find the cutters and he can shoot the jump shot. He just doesn't have the rhythm right now.
Well, remember the whole fiasco in L.A. as Williams hits his 2nd field goal of the night with the fight with Rick Fox and Doug Christie. Webber wasn't even there. He was hurt at the end of the preseason and missed 3 games to start the season. So Chris really hasn't played a lot of basketball this year, coming back from his nagging preseason abdominal strain. Looked a little more like the Webber we know of when we saw him against the Knicks on Wednesday night on ESPN with 22, 11, and 3 assists.
Well, he's a 50% shooter for his career. I mean, he's played long enough in the NBA where maybe you don't pen that in every year, but you certainly pencil it in. And he's going to be up around 50% this year.
Foul on Bobby Jackson. And you talk about Weber. Watch him in action here.
And a lot of people criticize him, too, for taking those shots. He's a big guy. He should be more physical. That's part of his game. He can do it well. See a Michigan fan there that may be disappointed this upcoming season. And maybe disappointed with the football team this year, actually, too. But, you know, they don't really care anymore. It's like, we beat Ohio State. We're cool. We'll go to the Gator Bowl. We'll be happy.
Weber. Battier came back to keep it away. Gasol that time deterred Weber. Yurosek got on the floor, but Jackson came away with it. And it's a reset. How exactly did you end up on that conversation? I couldn't follow you. You lost me. Well, pregame, we're in the locker room visiting with Chris, and you see wearing the University of Michigan hat and that Detroit shirt. Chris from Detroit, Michigan, and obviously in the news because of the continuing off-the-court decade-later saga with the University of Michigan. Hits the field goal there that causes Sidney Lowe to call a timeout. We'll relate some of our conversation with Chris about that topic when we come back. All Sacramento. Weber, 12 points, going to come down, and the university returned money that they made in the postseason from the NCAA because of that. This all goes back to Chris Weber and the story of receiving cash and gifts back in high school from Ed Martin, who was a University of Michigan booster, who befriended Weber and other young people. And some say, and Weber said, as a matter of fact, he was preying on the young and their naivete at that point in their lives. Still in all, it is a mark on Chris Weber as the legal situation will play itself out sometime in 2003. Beautiful move by Chris around Pau Gasol. Chris told me pregame, I asked him why the Michigan hat and the Detroit shirt, and it certainly was a sign. He heard the comments Jalen Rose made earlier on SportsCenter, how it's unfortunate that they took the banners down, but they won't be able to take away the memories of the videotapes of those Fab Five games. And Chris still loves the University of Michigan, made that very clear to me. But he said he'd like to win a championship and dedicate it to the folks in Ann Arbor and all of his friends back there who he still has great affection for. Battier, a Michigan native, hits a three. But there's not much he can do at this point except go through the legal channels. And that's going to play out after Chris's father and aunt, accused of lying to a federal grand jury, were indicted in September, and they will face trial sometime during 2003. Battier takes that away defensively for Memphis. A couple of nice trips for Shane here. Yurosek off the window for two.
Well, just
But Christie banged up a little bit. Sorry, Tommy.
my own opinion on the situation. Yeah, it's just hard for me to believe that you get guys like Maurice Taylor, Traylor, Bullock that have admitted to accepting money, and then Weber didn't get any money. Could be wrong. Don't have any inside information on this one, but it's just one of those situations where you wonder if you believe your own story. You say your own story for so long, you end up believing your story, and then if you get caught in it, you're not going to backtrack on that situation and say, yeah, I did goof or I did lie.
Williams high-arcing over Christie, and Jason's come up with 3 field goals here in this second half after 1 in the first half. Just to finish the thought, I think Chris feels bad. Stojaković, beautiful on the feed, couldn't finish though. Chris feels bad that there's been more shame and pain through this whole situation. Williams hits a 3 like Jason of the old Sacramento days. But it's certainly more painful because he's going to have to go through the legal process, and his dad and his aunt here coming up at some point in 2003, and that prohibits him from saying a lot of things if you ask him about the specifics involved at this point.
And you wonder from a basketball fan standpoint or a Kings fan, how does that affect his play? Is it going to affect his play? Is it going to be weighing on his mind? Or when he comes to the basketball court, is that going to be a sanctuary and he forgets about all that?
Gasol with the hoop and the foul. Jason Williams certainly feeling it in this half after a relatively a decaf first half. It wasn't a very high-energy first half. He's come up with 3 field goals, a few assists, and Weber just picked up his 4th personal foul.
Down 27 points, you get the free throws here, you have a chance to get it, and right now at 19 points, and 19 points, you're still getting your butt kicked up and down the court, but maybe you go on a 4-0 spurt or another 10-4 spurt. And then all of a sudden, if you can find yourself back into a game, let's say you're down 12 or 13, then the pressure's back on the Kings, and they say, how do we let these guys get back in this game? And the shots for them become harder.
I think it was first intended for Weber, but Bobby Jackson was back behind him. He comes up with the hoop.
Vlade says, yeah, I saw him back there.
Vlade's getting all these bizarre assists here in this half.
Told you, crafty. The man is crafty.
Vlade comes out. Gasol rolls down. Could not convert. Christie took a rebound away from Divac. To Weber from the elbow. One was off from the start. Stojaković got it back and lost it.
Betty can't buy a charge. He cannot buy a charge. He give him an A for effort, though. I mean, after a while, your buttocks got to be getting sore, I would imagine. You just say, you know, it's just not even worth it anymore. I'm not going to bother with it.
Shane, a great guy, a leader. We mentioned in the first half, same high school as Chris Webber. Country Day in Michigan. As a matter of fact, Williams a three. Chased it down and put it back up. Jason Williams certainly energized in this third quarter. Must have seen the first half stat sheet and said, you know, I can't come back to my old crib and put up 1 for 3.
Well, sometimes when you get down by 27 points, you just let it all hang out. You say, well, if we lose by 27 or 47, it makes no difference, but let's go down guns blazing.
Stromile Swift blocked Weber as he came down. Gooden back in the game. Did a nice job defensively as well. Battier tipped away.
You look at how, I mean, you just look at how young these guys are. Wesley Person, you know, Jason Williams have some experience, but I think the core of this team for the next few years and hopefully on into the future for the Grizzlies is going to be Drew Gooden, Shane Battier, Paul Gasol, and these guys are the ones that are going to have to build this franchise up.
Just little plays like that right there. Yeah. Stromile Swift, a little 11-footer.
Yep.
You got to think you can make it at his size and try to make the extra pass. And it resulted in the turnover. Battier turned Jackson away. Bobby comes back and hits his 7th field goal of the night. 16 points for Jackson, 7 of 9 shooting. Sacramento continues to shoot very well. Rick Adelman's team, 53% from the field tonight.
Well, sometimes you take, and going back to the Swift incident, you take an 11-footer, an easy 11-footer instead of taking a hard 5-footer. And I know that sounds, it didn't sound right, but sometimes you don't want to get closer to the basket because you're encountering defenders. I mean, it's much like golf. It's like why sometimes you don't want to get as close to the green as possible. You want to lay up and have a full wedge or a full sandwich, something like that.
Battier that time is called for the foul.
You know, that made a lot more sense in my head, actually.
You were trying to drop golf knowledge on me.
Well, I mean, in my head it was working. And sometimes when, it came out, you look at Weber right there, we talk about not shooting the greatest percentage, but getting the rebounds, making the passes, making the plays on defense, getting out on the boards. I mean, he does it all. He really does it all. Receives a lot of flack, but certainly when you look at the all-around game and what he brings to the table, he's one of the top 10 players in the league.
You can see Christian's energy at a different level tonight as he bounces back from injury. His Kings lead by 18 here on NBA Friday on ESPN.
To Jason Kidd.
Well, Kevin, you certainly know when one of the top assist guys in the league is coming into your house, you want to put on a show. Jason Williams wanted to put on a show in the place where he dropped a lot of dimes. Sal Masekela, it's been an interesting return to Sacramento for Jay Will.
Yeah, I spoke to a few of the Kings about that before the game, and you know what? No one had anything but fantastic things to say about this former King. I mean, Weber said, you know what? That guy is family. He's responsible for why this team is so good right now. And he said if we win a championship, a lot of the credit goes to him.
Well, remember when Williams was here, as we alluded to in the first half, it's really when Sacramento started to grow as a franchise. They played the most exciting brand of basketball in the league. And as you watch more teams now in this open, flowing play with a creative point guard and the international players who are so solid fundamentally to complement, the seeds for what we see in the NBA for this decade may have been when Jason Williams was the point guard of this Sacramento team. Is that stretch, Tom?
No, because I remember when he first came into the league, it didn't matter if the Kings won or lost. You turned on SportsCenter to see what kind of crazy bounce pass off his head he would do. And he was just, he still is. He's an exciting player. He's learned to tone it down a little bit. Like you can go ahead and do, like I was saying, situational basketball. You can get away with that stuff for the first 2 or 3 quarters, but there comes a time in the game, even when he was very exciting. You know, Bobby Jackson played a lot of the fourth quarters, and he would sit out. The reason being you can't afford those silly turnovers in the fourth quarter, but you don't want to stifle his game because that's why people come to see him play, because he is very exciting.
Vlade, and it blocked by Swift. Battier was there as well.
He said, crafty that.
Stromile has 3 return to senders tonight.
You better get it up quick and high when that guy's in there, because you let it hang in the air too long, it's going to do a reverse pivot.
Peja tried the deep triple, shot clock running down, and Memphis can ease it back to 16 or 15 on this trip. Revin Knight and Wesley Person in the backcourt with Battier, Swift, and Gooden. It will stay with Memphis.
Well, the Kings have gotten away a little bit from what got them that 27-point lead, and that's passing the basketball, finding cutters. Right now, they're just kind of standing around and shooting jump shots, and sometimes you fall into that trap. You're up 27 points, you figure the game's over. There's no way you can lose the game, and you get a little bit lazy.
Earl Watson in for Battier, feeds Drew Gooden, got Clark in the air, and drew the foul.
Like that. That was lazy on Keon Clark's part. He did not bump Drew Gooden. Drew Gooden snuck in on him, and he didn't even put a body on him. And a nice move by Drew Gooden once he got the ball. But if you're a big guy, you can't let another big catch the ball 3 feet away from the bucket. It doesn't work.
Known as the Truth during his days in Lawrence, Kansas. One of my favorite college basketball coaches is Roy Williams. Just adore Roy Williams. And Roy was there in Memphis for the Grizzlies season opener to watch Drew Gooden, who left a year early. With Roy's blessing, he knew it was time for Drew to go pro. And Roy Williams was there in the pyramid to watch Drew's NBA debut, which he did start. He's been starting and coming off the bench here in the first 6 games for Memphis. Stojaković so hot in the first half, unable to find the range here in the second, and with 70 seconds left, another chance to cut it to 15 or 14. Wesley Person deep 3. The guy who can fill it up. 98, he led the league with 192 made threes, and it is a 14-point game.
Kind of snuck back in on him.
Swift, good hustle, kept it alive. Stromile Swift, the second unit for Memphis, doing good things. Revin Knight, good night. The lead is 12. And the folks who came to ARCO just to kick back for a Friday night, a little unhappy here. An 8-0 run by Memphis.
Well, this is when you're Sacramento, you're thinking, no, wait a minute. We're up 27, and Stojaković has got it sucked back down. And it doesn't matter who your man is. You protect the basket first. You stay with Gooden until someone comes to help you, and then you fire back out. But you don't stay there waiting for your man and let a guy go right by you for a dunk.
Christie had the mismatch on Earl Watson. Fought him for position, but could not finish. Chance to cut it to 9 or 10. And Revin Knight going to run it down here. Missed about a third of the season last year with plantar fasciitis, foot injury. To Gooden, who collects and connects. Wow, good comeback against Adelman's team. Jackson had it blocked by Swift. 4th block for Stromile Swift here tonight. Memphis has 9 blocks. They turned it around defensively and outscored Sacramento by 10. Off we go to the 4th quarter, and we've got a ball game. Quarter, they were down 74-47 with 7 minutes left, but the Grizz scored 27 to the next 37, in large part because of one of the top picks in the draft. Yao Ming, then Jay Williams went 1-2. Mike Dunleavy to Golden State, and Drew Gooden, the 4th overall pick to the Memphis Grizzlies. If you look right now, the guy who's having the biggest impact is wearing 0 for the Grizz.
Yeah, you look at the other 3 and you look at the numbers and say, well, what the heck's going on there? Well, number 1, Yao Ming doesn't speak the language. He's going to have a tough time adjusting. Eventually he gets there. But this guy right here is doing it all inside. He's making jumpers outside. He's running the court, just being aggressive. And now he's got it going on. He's feeling good about that shot right there. And he's one of the main reasons they went on that 27-10 run.
His type of game compared to the other 3 fit more immediately to go with the team he's with. Jay Williams is being asked to do a lot with the Bulls. His point total is not going to be there. Yeah. Mike Dunleavy's got a growth curve to come up here, as you know, being in the Bay Area. But Drew Gooden fit right in with these young, athletic, long on the front line players.
And he's not being asked to do all the things that all the other guys are. I mean, Yao Ming not asked to do so much, but you expect the #1 pick to come in and score some points for you and get something done. He's going to take a while. Jay Williams got a lot of young guys around him. He's got to make sure they're all in the right position. And Mike Dunleavy just hasn't gotten the confidence yet to be effective with the Warriors.
Damon Jones to Vlade Divac. Sacramento's gone cold here in the second half. Brandon Knight, beautiful bounce, Lorenzen right. His former University of Memphis star who played his college ball, the same place he plays his NBA games, the Pyramid, right on the river there in Memphis. Grizzlies will have a new arena, the FedEx Forum, coming up in a couple of years. Person to steal. Gooden, nose for the goal. See those little things right there. Here's Sal.
Well, Coach Adams said, hey, guys, what are you doing? You stop defending. You let them do whatever they want to do on defense. He said, hey, let's get some movement back on offense again and win this thing.
It's been the defensive end, the easier hoops for Memphis, that have changed the tone of this a little bit.
Absolutely, and they're the ones that are being aggressive now. They're not backing off and taking jump shots. They're trying to be aggressive.
Beautiful look, Christie to Turkoglu. It all started when Gooden got caught in the air and made a bad pass.
It doesn't bother me as much if you get caught in the air going to the middle, but if you get caught in the air going to the baseline, you're done, because you use the baseline as an extra defender. It takes one guy to shut it off and you have nowhere to throw it to.
And again, that's stuff he got away with against Oklahoma State. This is not Oklahoma State.
No.
Or Baylor. Or Texas A&M.
I don't see Eddie Sutton here, is he?
No, I don't want anybody in Stillwater getting uptight with us at 11:15 Central. Reverend Knight lost it. Christie tried to keep it alive, but he had a toe on the tape. It'll stay down here with Memphis.
Well, that's the thing about college. College, you go up against probably an NBA caliber player, maybe one out of every 10 teams you play, or an all Big 12 player, or somebody that's really going to push you. You get to the NBA, there's very few nights off. Very few nights off. Maybe every now and then, but every single night, you're going up against probably one of the better guys on his college team, so it's a challenge every night.
Well, here it is. Memphis, the only winless team in the league. Gooden, tough shot, and Turkoglu comes away with the board. Divac finds Jones. Keon Clark, two players from the Eastern Conference last year, trying to help improve the Western Conference regular season Kings. And a foul on Keon. Sacramento leading here by 10. Find Drew Gooden's place among the rookies. Log on to NBA.com for the weekly rookie power rankings. You also see the stats that are out on team experience, and you'll see that Memphis is one of the youngest teams in the NBA. Weber back in for Sacramento, and his defense helped force that turnover. Turkoglu around Gooden. And a foul.
Fouls on the Grizzlies.
It's a Reverend Knight foul. Believe it or not, we've played 38 minutes of an NBA game, and that is the 5th foul on Sacramento, or on Memphis tonight. The whole game, 5 fouls. Tom,
makes for good pace.
Got a chance to catch the red eye.
I think what happened is maybe those little balls from the whistles fell out. They just didn't feel like blowing them. You don't see that very often with guys not calling the fouls. But I mean, this is just—it's been one of those games.
There to call.
Well, you know what it's been? It's been an open court game.
Right.
You know, it hasn't been a grinding basketball game. It's been played in the open court with a lot of spacing. And the game, I mean, it really doesn't matter which way you go. 5 fouls, and that's astounding. But one of the reasons is because it is up and down.
Christie on the push. Here is Weber. Knight got a hand on it. Almost had the steal. Knocked it out of bounds. Remember, Weber is 3 assists shy of a triple-double at 14 points, 12 boards, 7 assists. Sacramento leads 88-76. They've lost 3 in a row. That hasn't happened in 20 months. And they don't want two-hand flush from Drew Gooden. You know, you go back to that dunk by Stackhouse at the buzzer as you watch Gooden again. Part of Drew's good offensive night with 17 points to lead all Memphis scores. The Lakers are now 2-5. So they gone through the Shaq stretch at 2-5, and that's exactly what Phil Jackson joked about when we were out there 2 weeks ago. We go 1-6, 2-5, and he was a little tongue-in-cheek, but also meant it in some serious nature, and that's where they are on this East Coast swing.
Well, I think he wants his team to read that. That's a way that he can motivate the team. You can read that. And what do you mean, Coach? What's Coach thinking?
Right. Contested by Keon Clark, and back comes Christie.
Got to make those. If you want to have a chance to win on the road as an underdog, you got to make those buckets.
Weber is fouled. Person's going to have a tough time handling C-Webb down there.
Yeah, and that's just doing your work early right there. Just planting yourself underneath the bucket, making yourself available, making yourself big. Get the bucket, and once you get it down there and you got Person on you, it's bucket or foul or both.
Chris's first free throw trip, 10 of 20 from the line this season. Struggled against the Knicks on Wednesday. Here's our NBA national broadcast window this week. San Antonio, New Jersey, and Sacramento Golden State, the ESPN Wednesday games. Jazz, Wizards, Magic, and the LA Clippers Thursday on TNT. Weber 0 for 2, 10 of 22 on the season. And that would be a byproduct of the guy who hasn't played much as well. Gooden looking to go to the goal right away. Saved it. Brevin Knight comes away with it. Lorenzen Wright. Keon Clark sent it back. And that got a piece of Wright. This is a tough matchup situation for Memphis. They are small, and Sacramento's long right now.
Well, Keon Clark does a great job getting over there and blocking it. Just he happened to block it right to Lorenzen Wright. Off the glass, you get some people looking. One of those things where it's like, hey, fellas, I'll block it, but somebody's got to clean that up for me.
Lorenzen Wright spent a couple of years at Memphis, 3 years at the Clippers, a couple with Atlanta, part of the Pau Gasol, what eventually became the Pau Gasol deal. You know, you think about it, Sharif Abdul-Rahim and Jamal Tinsley doing a good job with Atlanta, but Memphis franchise got a lot out of it with Brevin Knight, Lorenzen Wright, and Gasol. Good trade both sides.
Yes.
Watson off the sloppy play. Will come back Sacramento's way with Weber. Watson, a tough, gritty player. 4-on-1. Good one. And one.
Boy, this is just a mess out here. Like no one wants to win the game. Kick it around, drop it, slip. Oh, the other way. Whoops, back the other way.
But the little guys, Knight and Watson made this one.
Absolutely. I mean, they're always hustling. Got the heads up. Nice pass right there. And Gooden doing a real nice job of initiating the body contact. Not waiting for Clark to come over and hit him. Initiating the contact, getting the line.
And there's the emotion. The team that doesn't have enough of it gets it from Drew Gooden. Yeah, maybe he should look for the pass a little bit more, but he's aggressive offensively, gets the boards. Tonight, Drew Gooden has 19 points and 20 points, I should say, and 7 rebounds in 22 minutes. Near turnover, almost going the other way. Damon Jones says, boys, settle down. Inside of 8, it's an 8-point game. Turkaloo.
Shot. Yeah, that's not the shot you want. Being up 8 points with 7.5 minutes left to go. Now let's see what the Grizzlies can go to here. This is what we talk about learning how to win. Getting a good shot on each possession when you find yourself back in the ball game in the fourth quarter.
Gooden. Not afraid to take a 22-footer. A rookie.
Well, that's the exact spot he hit it from earlier on this half. The exact spot, and when you get things going from the inside, your confidence grows and you feel like you can hit the ones from the outside, and that's what's happened tonight for Drew Gooden.
Third foul on Brevin Knight.
You see right there, the pick, they're going to suck Keon Clark into the lane, pitch it back out to Gooden, and he can't get there in time. But it wasn't starting from the outside and working his way in. It was scoring, getting out on the break, making easy buckets, and then your confidence grows, and then you feel like, hey, I'm rolling right now. I can get this shot. Another tough shot.
Turkaloo's taking a couple of tough ones. Finally gets one to go, Tom.
Well, he's never lacked confidence. I mean, he knows that he can play. He feels like he can score on anybody in the league. And it doesn't matter who's guarding him. If you get him the ball, his confidence level is high enough to where he feels like he can make those tough shots.
Sacramento's first-round pick in 2000 makes it an 8-point game. Damon Jones watches Brevin Knight. 4 to shoot. It'll be Gooden who has to take it. Shot clock violation.
They don't blame Drew Gooden much for that. That's a situation where nobody's moving, and he ends up getting a potato put in his hands with 2 seconds left in the shot clock. What are you going to do?
Christie has a lot of size to work here on Watson. Damon Jones will launch. It's off the shot clock, out of bounds. Not the best shot Sacramento could have come up with that trip. Sidney Lowe's team has battled back in it. Now they'll get Stromile Swift back in the lineup. Try to get a little size back in there. You see the turnaround in that third. 10 points better than Adelman's team.
Now, fairly interesting, too. You don't see Vlade Divac out on the court. You don't see Peja Stojaković out on the court. You see Brevin Knight right there with a little quick pull-up from 10 feet.
A good contribution for Knight. 6 points, 5 rebounds, 8 assists. The Cavs, middle of the first-round pick, back in '97. Weber on Stromile Swift. Lost the handle on his way to the lane. The athletic Swift got there, and he got fouled by Keon Clark. So as Vlade sits, Sidney Lowe continues to watch his team inch closer. This is a guy who's got great coaches as part of his life. Morgan Wooten, who just announced he's going to retire after 46 years. The legendary high school coach at Washington, DeMatha High School. Sidney Lowe played for Jimmy V, the great Jim Valvano. An assistant with Mike Fratello in Cleveland. Keon Clark goes to the bench with 5 fouls halfway through this fourth quarter. The Grizzlies trying to get it to 4 or 3. Knight and Swift. Battier, a triple. Christie the board, Jackson off the bench, runs the wing. Weber down the lane. Rebound Weber. Stepped out of bounds. It will stay with Sacramento. At one point, this was no problem for the Kings. But now their lead is just 6. Jimmy Moore bringing you the best seat in sports, courtside, the NBA Friday on ESPN. Kings once led this game by 27. It is now 6. Tom's going to tell us why.
Well, in a word, sloppy. You just see right there, that's just a missed layup. You deal with that, but not concentrating, not making a good pass. Chris Webber right there with the ball, going one-on-one, 4 bounces, 5 bounces. We come in for the, Gooden comes in for the dig, gets the ball away. 14 turnovers in the second half, and that's not to be unexpected when you're up 27 points. Sometimes you just get lazy mentally.
They have 8 turnovers this quarter. Weber has 8 turnovers on his own. Chris may have a triple-double with points, rebounds, and turnovers tonight.
It's not the triple-double you want.
Oh, it's not?
No, it's not.
He may have a real one. He has 7 assists as well. Weber works on the rookie Drew Gooden. So plenty of time on the ticker. Vlade hasn't taken a shot in a while. Stromile Swift couldn't chase it down. Stojaković from up top with a good rebound.
Got to have those if you're the Grizzlies. If you're the Grizzlies and you want to win this basketball game, you have to do everything. You have to get offensive rebounds. You have to keep them off the offensive glass. Have to make the layups. You got to get everything. Can't give them second chances.
Sacramento, so hot early, has gone cold. They were over 50% most of the first half. They are now in the mid-40s, 47%. Brevin Knight stepping back and knocking down the 2.
He's really been the catalyst in this fourth quarter. They're setting a lot of screen rolls for him. Swift coming up, Gooden coming up, and he's making good decisions. If I'm double, I'll pass. If not, I'll pull up for the shot.
4-point game. It's called the kickoff of Wesley Person. Sidney Lowe, 23 wins each of the last 2 seasons. Those are the 2 best seasons in Grizzlies franchise history. Of course, in Vancouver for 5. Now in Memphis here for a couple. Franchise that has not had any success to speak of. Jackson, tough shot. Woo!
And give Lowe credit, too. You see the starters in for the Sacramento Kings. It would have been very easy for Sidney Lowe once they got back into the game to say, let's get Williams back in there. Let's get Gasol back in here. But he's sticking with the guys that have cut into this lead.
Good off the mark. Swift, a terrific rebound, and he got fouled. That's why Stromile Swift adds so much to this team.
Oh, you have to put a body on him. You can't let him get a running start. And Bobby Jackson right here, thought Mive got even hit on the left hand. Tough shot and a bucket. But with a guy like Stromile Swift, you need to locate him and hit him with a forearm or put a butt on him, or into him, I should say. Get a body on him and then go get the rebound. You can't just look at him and expect to out-jump him, especially when he gets a running start.
Interesting point you made, Tom, as Pau Gasol and Jason Williams sit on the bench. And Jason Williams, this is the frustration house where he started sitting in fourth quarters late in games, and Bobby Jackson saw those significant moments before the summer when he was traded for Mike Bibby.
Well, I always like coaches that stick with the guys that got you there. If you're down 20, you cut the lead, you let those guys have it. Those guys brought you back into the game. You let them stay in the game and see if they can get you the win.
Vlade was doubled by Knight and Swift, and the foul was called on Brevin. whose brother Brandon is one of the stars for one of the top 5 teams in the country in college basketball, University of Pittsburgh. Brandon is a fabulous performer postseason last couple of years. Shared the Big East Player of the Year last year. Weber over Gooden. And the rebound by the Auburn alum, Wesley Person.
How many backdoor cuts do you remember the Kings finishing this half? It must have been double digits in the first half. And the Memphis Grizzlies did a nice job on defense. And the Kings just aren't making the cuts they were making in the first half.
Battier sees the double. Who's open on the rotation? Sacramento recovers, 2 to shoot. They got nothing going. Knight saw it. Can he get rid of it? He did, I guess. No good, and Christie comes away with the board. 3.5 left. They're reaching defensively, and Sacramento tried to beat it. And they want goaltending. The officials don't seem to be looking for the goaltending call, just the foul on Battier. Shane's fingers got caught in the net on the way through. I don't know if the ball was on the cylinder at that point. Let's see.
Let's see the back cut right here. Let it go. He did go through the net, but it was outside the cylinder.
Yeah, but he got a piece. That was close. One more for Stojaković. Peja averaging 17.5 a game. And the Serbian gives Sacramento a 6-point lead. Memphis does not need to be in a hurry and force it. Crashing the glass is Swift. Here come the Kings. This plays right into their hands.
Well, if you have it on the break, you take it. But you don't want to force a tough shot down 6 points. Goes right back to what we say, learning how to win.
Jackson couldn't convert the 3. Knight dribbles out of traffic.
You always want to look to push. Doesn't mean you have to rush a shot. If you have something, take it.
2-on-1. Peja, Jackson, Stojaković. Blocked by Battier, but a foul. Bad trips for Memphis offensively, and Rick Adelman's team has pushed it and trying to wrestle control away at one. They led by 27. It's just Sacramento with Sal Masakela and Tom Tolbert, Mike Tirico. Jason Williams remains on the bench. The Kings, his old team, leads his current team, Memphis, by 6. Tuesday night, Kevin Frazier, Sean Elliott, and Tim Legler send you around the league. See highlights from 7 games, exclusive in progress highlights and news. NBA Fast Break Tuesday, Seattle, Washington, Clippers at Miami, Atlanta at the Lakers among the games on the Tuesday docket. For more, you can log on to ESPN.com, but that's ESPN2, NBA Fast Break Tuesday with Kay Frey and Sean and Tim Legler.
Well, let's keep an eye on what happens the last 3 minutes. They closed it within 94-90 with a little over 3 minutes to go. You had a bad shot selection by Drew Gooden. You had a turnover in the fast break. And this is where your immaturity sometimes shows. You don't realize that, let's pull it back out. Let's push it. If we have it, we'll take it. If not, let's run the clock and see if we can get a good shot. And then the turnover, we'll see how the young Memphis Grizzlies handle the last 3 minutes of the game.
1 of 2 for Stojaković. Brevin Knight stays on the floor with Wesley Person, great 3-point shooter, Battier, Gooden, and Stromile Swift. Gooden trying to camp out inside. Person slow to get up as he was knocked down. 6 to shoot. Battier lost the handle as he was driving on Peja. Christie the other way. That was a tough pass. Deflected by Memphis. And that's one Rick Adelman didn't like. Bobby Jackson, Christie, Stojaković, Weber, and Divac, the starting 5 for the reigning regular season Western Conference champion Kings. We're trying to snap a 3-game slide. Stojaković couldn't finish. And the Grizzlies within 7 as we approach 2 minutes, trying to win 1 on the season. They are the only winless crew in the NBA, although they took San Antonio to overtime and were close at Portland on Wednesday. Gooden climbs across the lane and is fouled.
Well, that's a good move. You know, they tried to run the pick and roll the time down before, had another turnover. This time, a little cross screen for Gooden by Swift. You get it and you go. Like, watch him catch. He catches and he goes. Catch, go. He felt Vlade on his right shoulder, turned to the left shoulder, rolling into the free throw line.
Gooden misses the free throw, 71% shooter in this early season. Drew has 22 and 8. And of note, in addition to Jason Williams, Pau Gasol, the reigning Rookie of the Year, remains on the bench. He had a very poor first half. Picked it up a little bit in the second. Inside of 2 minutes. Still a 2-possession game. To shoot. Vlade couldn't get position on Swift. Hands to Jackson, who lost Knight along the baseline. Circus shot, and a shot clock violation is called.
24-second shot clock violation.
Well, a situation where they tried to get off the left side of the court, and I think Bobby Jackson was waiting for somebody to come give him a screen and roll. Waiting for Vlade, and Weber had already cleared out to the other side, and finally he decided to do it himself.
9 Sacramento turnovers this quarter. Memphis can get within 4 or 3. Remember, Person, a great three-point shooter. Battier posting Jackson. Weber sent it back.
I see no reason not to try to go back to Gooden with the game he's having. Try to get that cross screen again. Let Gooden get it, square up. He can face up Vlade and either shoot a 10-footer or try to get to the free throw line.
Memphis unable to execute in these late-game situations. Inside of a minute. Weber on Gooden. Divac the rebound. Divac again. Back.
He just manages a way to wriggle his way in there, find the seam, get the rebound, lay it up. You don't get it. You get fouled. I mean, that's what experience will do for you. And guys like Swift and Battier and Gooden will all learn that kind of stuff. Now, there's not many guys as wily as Vlade Divac, but just the experience he brings in big game situations. A guy down the end of the game, you know you can always count on him to miss free throws. But other I mean, just the experience factor. Hey, you look at Battier, Swift, and Gooden, I bet you Vlade shaves more in a day than they do in a month. Hey, you look at that 5 o'clock shot. You got it going on. Oh, you got to get
Weber!
Wow.
Good night.
Yeah.
And timeout, Memphis. Well, Chris Weber, who's turned it over often tonight, may have had the good night kiss for Memphis there. Rebound in the putback. Puts the Kings up 8. Been an outstanding night for Chris Weber. Filling every box of the stat sheet. 16 points and 16 rebounds. And that last board and last 2 points may have been it. In the second year of a 7-year, $123 million contract at money time. Has come up with some money plays here. The block shot, the defensive stop on a guy who went to the same high school he did in Birmingham, Michigan. Shane Battier may have hurt his right hand there, but undeterred after Vlade's second missed free throw. Weber with the cleanup and the putback. And while we were away, they were checking out Chris's hand as if this team doesn't have enough injuries. Memphis has gone the last 4 minutes without a field goal and trail by 8. Nothing happening quick here, and they needed something quick. Battier off the screen. Couldn't get it to go, and Weber pulls down a rebound, number 17, and he was fouled. Tom, you talked about watching closely what happened here at the end of the game with Memphis when they were within 6.
Well, we said, can you learn how to close out a game? Can you find yourself good shots at the end of the game? And it's a learning process for a young team. 2 turnovers, a bad shot, a shot that was blocked, and gave up 2 offensive rebounds. Those things can't happen in the last 3-4 minutes of a game against a good team, a mediocre team, or a bad team, and expect to win. You have to clean those things up, and until they find a way to clean those things up, they're going to find themselves with a big 0 into the W column.
Weber missed his 2 free throws earlier and is now 0 for 3 at the line. And Jason Williams, who returned, one of Weber's closest buddies during their time here in Sacramento, and has not seen the floor since he came out late third quarter. Weber missed them both. And Memphis takes time with 33-4 to go. Grizzlies still have a full timeout as they're going to take a 20 here. Sacramento 2 timeouts left and no fouls to give on either side.
Well, I'm going to try to get the ball to Drew Gooden here, and I'm going to try to keep Knight involved in the play. I'm going to run a pick and roll with either Swift or Gooden and have Gooden on the opposite side, maybe flashing in for a post-up, or if you want to and you want to post him up, you just run a simple cross pick with Gooden on the weak side, cross pick for him, let him come over, and then quickly let him go. But it's got to be done quickly.
There's what Memphis has ahead. The trip to Denver tomorrow night in Golden State. A couple of opportunities to win games, and the other teams are thinking just the same. But when you look at Memphis at 0-5, they've lost to Dallas, Detroit, Sacramento, San Antonio, and Portland. Those are all playoff teams.
They played in the first 3 games, giving up a lot of points. The last 2 games, they played better, but I know these guys are probably sick of moral victories.
Swift. Gotta go quick here, guys. Climbs across the lane and gets fouled with 26.3 to go.
Yeah, it's the situation now where you're down 8 points. You don't have to have a 3-pointer per se, but you got to do it quickly. If you're going to wait that long, you might as well kick it out for a 3 and see if you can knock off 3 in one shot.
Weber has 5 fouls. Swift will get another free throw. We talk about Memphis and Jason Williams. A lot of conversation about fellow West Virginian Jerry West, who's now the president of basketball operations back in Memphis, not traveling with the team on this trip. 40 years with the Lakers, 8 NBA championships. Player, front office as well. Sacramento gets it to the front court, and the foul is called. Jerry West came out earlier this week defending his head coach Sidney Lowe, giving him a vote of confidence, in essence, when Memphis opened and played so poorly, as you alluded to, Tom. Jerry West said right away after a closed-door meeting, is there any pressure on Sidney Lowe? Might you make a change this early? And West said, no, not at all. It's almost a question you wish no one would ever ask, because there's no reason to think that firing Lowe is going to happen, period. West said in his mind, he didn't see anything that overly concerns him. They need to get away from blaming and collectively look at themselves objectively.
Yeah.
Jerry's setting a foundation and assessing here this season.
Well, there's pressure on everybody every day in this sport. I mean, this is a sport where you have to continue to perform, or you get fired, or someone takes your job.
Knight missed it. Swift couldn't collect it. And Sacramento is going to get the win to snap the 3-game losing streak. They come back to ARCO and get to 4-3 as Memphis remains the only winless team in the NBA. The Grizzlies are 0-6. Weber had the stat-stuffing night. 16 points, 17 rebounds, 8 assists, 5 blocks, and 8 turnovers. Drew Gooden, good offensive show with 23 and 8 in the losing cause for Memphis. The Grizzlies go the last 4:51 without a field goal. It's that man Marty Aronoff, Sal Masekela, Tom Tolbert, Mike Tirico. Stay tuned.